Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today's issue of the Neepawa Banner and Press is Friday, July 12th, 2024. And off to the races in Carberry. One of Western Manitoba's most beloved summer ag traditions was taken back last weekend as the annual Carberry Fair and Races was held from July 5th to 7th. Organized by the Carberry Agricultural Society since 1883, activities at the fair have included harness racing, chuck wagon racing, pictured above, fat stock shows and sales, petting zoos, draft horse competitions, home craft exhibitions, and much more. And they have even more pictures. Last weekend in Carberry featured a few special events as part of the annual Carberry Ag Society Fair and Races. The weekend schedule included chariot and chuck wagon races, as well as a pancake breakfast, show and shine, and an array of 4-H activities and displays. Very, very active event. We got to attend those every year. They're worth it. And so we'll continue. A half-century of dedication to Carberry. William Burch, honored by Carberry Ag Society, and pictured here on the left, William Burch's name is the latest addition to the Bell Monument in Carberry. Featured here is William Burch at left, with Ag Society President Alan Christensen, who announced Burch's honors, by Owen Devereux. William Burch has given his time, sweat, and effort to the community of Carberry and its local agricultural society for over half a century, and not a single solitary second of it ever felt like work for him. For William, it was a privilege to be able to give back in this manner. It's those types of volunteers that deserve to be celebrated, and on Friday, July 5th, that's exactly what William Burch received. During the final night of festivities at the 2024 Carberry Fair and Races, Ag Society President Alan Christensen announced the honor of lifetime membership and commemoration for Burch for 50 years of dedication and volunteering. His name will also now forever be enshrined in the Bell Monument, which was installed last year at the Carberry Ag Grounds. The monument features the old bell, which for generations was used to call in the participants at the races. It now stands proudly next to the grandstands and features the names of individuals through the years who have contributed to the betterment of the Ag Society and community as a whole. Along with selling calves for over 50 years, Burch also served 10 years as vice president for the Ag Society and has also stepped up in other capacities whenever needed. After receiving the honor from Christensen, Burch spoke with the Banner and Press. He said being able to support the Ag Society over the years was his privilege. It was my pleasure. I enjoyed all of it, did the best I could, and the community is just great to work with, said Burch. It was always interesting to see the different functions that happened over the years and what's changed for the better. And continuing, Riverbend Makers Market cancelled. Neepawa Tourism to hold mid-May street party as plans for 2025 market continue. The Riverbend Makers Market brings a variety of vendors each year with homegrown or handmade goods, such as the signs pictured above, which could be found at the 2024 Makers Market. While the 2024 market has been cancelled, plans continue for 2025. By Casper Wareham. Neepawa Tourism and its teams had to make a very difficult decision recently. The decision was the cancellation of the 2024 Riverbend Makers Market. The Riverbend Makers Market, formerly known as the Riverbend Market, was first held in 2021 and, since then, has become an annual event in the community. Riverbend Makers Market lead Jacqueline Farrow spoke with the Banner and Press on the matter, noting that a lack of the required board members and volunteers to run the event smoothly and properly contributed to this year's cancellation. We want to be able to give the vendors and shoppers the best possible experience when attending the Riverbend Market, said Farrow. Our current plan is to go ahead with the market in 2025, and right now it's just working on things in the background to be able to provide an even better market experience and researching to make next year's event bigger and better than ever. Farrow added, the tourism board is always seeking new members, and if anyone is interested in joining to be able to make events like this happen, they can reach out on the Neepawa Tourism Facebook or Instagram page or email info@neepawatourism.ca. Although the 2024 market is unable to move forward, tourism will still be making its mark and getting involved in the community on July 20th. On that day, they will be hosting the Neepawa Tourism Midday Street Party on Burch Street, besides Arts Forward, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. The street party will include live musical performances and a Neepawa Tourism merch booth. This event is also being held in conjunction with the annual RAFT, Riverbend Arts Forward Farmery Tours, meaning other entertainment such as live art displays will also be taking place that day. And Looking Back by Casper Warehan. 1974, Amaranth Cowboy wins saddle competition. And pictured here on the upper right, the Neepawa's Fair's Western Saddle Competition winner was declared to be Jack Robertson of Amaranth on June 29, 1974. Ron Miller presented the trophy. Reserve champion was shown by Kirk Bridgman of Moline. This news appeared in the July 11th edition of the paper for that year. So 125 years ago, 1899, Dr. Goff of Drayton, North Dakota, who has been looking around here in the hopes of buying a farm, returned to his home on Monday. He thinks we have the pick of the country around here. As the flour mill will be shut down about August 1st to remain closed from 4 to 6 weeks in order that several repairs and improvements may be made, the proprietor requests farmers to prepare themselves accordingly. Now that Park Lake is a reality again and likely to be a permanency, it would add immensely to its utility if there were a swimming bath established there. The expense of construction and maintenance could be met by fees. Miss Hilda Blake, employed as a domestic in the house of Mr. and Mrs. Lane in Brandon, shot her mistress dead one day last week. It was at first reported that a Galatian tramp did the awful deed, and there was intense indignation aroused against an arrested suspect. But circumstantial evidence led to the girl's arrest when she made a full confession and said her only motive was jealousy. 100 years ago, 1924, Thomas Adams celebrated his 90th birthday on Sunday and attended a family gathering at the home of his son John in Glendale, when 4 generations were represented. Boy Thomas was just as active as any of the others and looked to the future more hopefully than he did as a young man in England 70 years ago. The guide notes that the maple trees at Killarney are infected with plant lice, and that unless immediate steps are taken to cleanse them, they will be stripped of foliage and die. The leaves are covered with a sticky varnish-like substance, this to be followed by a small caterpillar worm that eats the leaves. The suggested remedy is spraying with a kerosene solution, 2 gallons of coal oil to 1 gallon of rainwater, and half a bar of soap. Dissolve the soap in the boiling water, add the coal oil, and churn 5 minutes. Then dilute with 9 gallons of water and proceed to spray. Another remedy is nicotine sulfate, which can be bought at the drugstore and used as directed. In spraying, it is essential that the fluid reaches under the surface of the leaves, as this is where the aphis is to be found. Wind, rain, and birds are great protectors of trees, but there must be a human assistance in a dry season, especially if the insects get a good start. 75 years ago, 1949, Oberon, an event of special interest to the ladies of the district, was held on Thursday afternoon, June 16th, when the WMS and WA celebrated the 25th anniversary of their organization. About 90 relatives gathered at the home of Mrs. F. Murray, Mentmore, on Sunday, July 3rd, to honor Mrs. C.A. Cameron on the occasion of her 89th birthday. 15 grandchildren, 24 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild attended. 50 years ago, July 1974. Readers of the Neepawa Press have been asking what is taking place at the drill site 4 miles southeast of town, and we accepted an invitation to visit the drill rig on Friday of last week to find out. Tudale Exploration Company, which is financing the test hole, are still confident that we are sitting on one of the largest iron ore deposits in North America, and core samples recovered to date indicate good grade ore. By Friday, the drillers were down to 2,750 feet, having intercepted the iron deposits at the 2,500-foot mark. Steve Lavage of Tudale said that he expected a report from the assay office in Winnipeg this week. While the small sample received in 1947 by a company drilling for oil assayed 38.7%, drilling at the present site is expected to go on for another 3 to 4 weeks. Tudale is enthusiastic enough to begin planning for several other test holes, the next to be drilled about 4 miles east of the present site. Janine Kilburn, a daughter of Mrs. Lorne Kilburn of Neepawa, received her degree in registered nursing at the graduation exercises of Grace General Hospital School of Nursing on June 28, 1974. Commencing September 1st, she will be working at the orthopedic floor of the Grace General Hospital. The winner of the Western Saddle Championship at the Neepawa Fair on June 29th was Jack Robertson from Amaranth. 20 years ago, 2004, the owners of the province's and country's first central fill pharmacy say they are a solution to a chronic shortage of pharmacies. But they have yet to convince all of their colleagues. Located in Homewood near Carman, Stream Pharmacy Solutions is the first to provide central fill dispensing, a procedure its owners claim will radically reduce the need for pharmacists. And the one ad, for faster results, use the want ads. Phone 476-2309 and let our friendly staff help you write your fast action want ad. From the Neepawa Press. And we'll continue. Right in the Center by Ken Waddell. Disclaimer, views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and may not be taken as being the views of the newspaper staff. Historical Foundations. The following column is a rerun from July 2023. Whether it's a review or new to you, I hope you enjoy the history and I welcome your comments. When we look back through the archive pages of our newspapers, we get a bird's view of how things were done over 100 years ago. Some things really stand out. Perhaps the first thing that jumps off the pages is the lack of what today we call political correctness. Opinions and humor back in the day were pretty much unbridled. There was no filter on the editor's typewriters 100 or more years ago. They said whatever was on their minds, and sometimes their comments were bluntly called out politicians and citizens alike. We should probably not go back like the most vicious commentary that appeared in the old-time newspapers. That's best left to the internet and Twitter, satire intended. At least the very negative comments in papers from days of old could be attributed to a real person who could be tracked down and held accountable. That's often not possible in the internet world, and that is a very real problem. If you can't be identified, you probably shouldn't be saying it. Also, 100 plus years ago, the newspaper was pretty much the only source and place for discussion. There were no phones or computers, few movie theaters, no radio or TV stations, no internet either. As far as advertising went, it was the newspaper, perhaps posters, and the Eaton, Sears, or Hudson's Bay catalogs. The newspaper was king. I will be the first to admit that newspapers have a lot of competition today, but I would also maintain that a good community newspaper is still near the top of the heap for the local news, ads, and commentary. Newspapers are sadly missed when they disappeared, and ask the 20 communities in Manitoba that have lost their papers in the last 5 years. One very notable difference in comparing newspapers today with papers from the past is that the ads were much bigger and more creative. Admittedly, some of the claims in the ads were outlandish and quite unbelievable. Also, unlike today, there were very large ads for cigarettes, and some cigarette companies even claimed to improve your health. Because building an ad was quite expensive and labor-intensive, ads were used over and over again. We still have a few of those old ads, cast in lead or in an early version of plastic. They were nailed to a wooden block to be placed in a frame to go on the printing press. A review of early history and then a review of more recent history clearly shows that the newspaper still has an important role to fill. King is too lofty a title, but leader might be an apt description. I think people understand that a good newspaper has to be a leader in local news, advertising, and opinion pieces. But there's the catch. Newspaper staff can't be everywhere all the time. The local newspapers that are left cover many communities stretched out over many miles. Everybody knows the cost of gas and labor, so it's no surprise that a newspaper's staff can't be everywhere all the time. The good news is that it's never been easier to submit news, photos, ads, and opinion pieces to the local paper. Email is a godsend. Great stuff can be posted on Facebook, for example, but few Facebook posts have the reach of the local paper. Facebook contacts run in the dozens or occasionally hundreds. Most local community papers reach thousands. If a local paper circulates 2,000 papers, the industry standard is 2.3 people reached per paper printed. Papers have changed, electronic media has its place, but the newspaper is still the information foundation. That said, everyone has to help strengthen that foundation. And Home Buddies by Rita Friesen. Say what? While meeting with people and speaking with people, there are expressions used that cause me to stop and think. The statement is usually simply a part of a conversation. It is the words used and expression that makes me tuck the quote away in a quiet corner. Every once in a while I take one out, look at it closely, and chuckle, or at least smile. Speaking of communicating with folks that are hard of hearing, read really deaf, one said of their relative, he wears his hearing aid in his hand. Isn't that a perfect description of lovely folks we know? They have accepted the fact they need the aid. They have usually been strongly encouraged, read forced, to purchase one. But golly, it is their right to wear or not wear the dang fool thing. I slipped back to visiting my father in the care facility. He didn't have his hearing aids in, and there was little reason to speak, hoping for communication until he wore them. I signed, "Where are your hearing aids?" His retort, "Check the pillage." The nursing station had rescued them when they found my dad washing them in the bathroom sink. Among the work I am privileged to do in my community is that of offering marriages. Big ones, small ones, young couples, middle-aged or old couples, same gender, different genders. No matter if my schedule allows, I am delighted to serve. One of the questions I always ask is, why now? For again, some folks are not yet old, but no longer young. Some are young, and I have been a family for a long time, so why now? The answer that has yet to be beat by anyone is a simple, "I don't believe in catch and release," said with sincerity and a smile. What a wonderful reason to be married. Chatting with random folks at the coffee time we enjoyed before our church service, and speaking of families, one wise person offered this quote, "You're only as happy as your saddest child." Doesn't that sum up parenthood? There are so many times that we as parents did nothing to cause our child's grief, but there is nothing we can do to resolve their dilemma or ease their pain. Yet we can be sad with them. That goes a long way with friendships, too. A quote I heard at home was, there's more down cellar in a teacup. To a child, that was a puzzling statement. What on earth could be in the basement in fine china? We learned that it is really always enough to share. Perhaps slice the loaf a little thinner, add a little bit of milk or water to the soup. Make do, not do without. Or, if the day was really good, hold out the promise of dessert. That quote is about the same vintage as I'm not so green as I'm cabbage lookin'. Again, referring to my father, he was often unkempt. Appearances were sometimes an important thing to him. He did dress properly as a teacher, but as a farmer, he may have been cabbage looking but never green. And Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroshine. 55 plus one more, part 1. For the record, I will celebrate another birthday next week, which means I have one more year of experience at being 55. My wife keeps telling me that age is just a number, and it is. But as the number increases by 1 with each birthday, I am taking time to reflect on the past and make some plans for the years I have left, however many that might be. The biggest change I have made in the past year has been learning to take life one day at a time. To date, I have only taken baby steps in that direction. When one is used to living many weeks, months, and even years in advance, has been my practice all my life, old habits die hard, and this one keeps fighting to regain total control of my thoughts. So the battle sometimes, I'll let you know how it's going in 12 months. My biggest challenge has been dealing with the restrictions put on me by my age. I began struggling with arthritic pain in my 40s. At that time, I was told that the symptoms would gradually get worse, and they have. But thanks to wise medical advice received over the years, I am able to deal with the pain. I don't move as fast as I once did, but I can do all the things I need to do, and for that I am very grateful. My biggest source of contentment has been my move to Neepawa. When I moved here in 1996, I had no idea why God wanted me here. I soon found out. My stay at the church I originally came to serve ended in the end of 1999. 2 months later, I accepted a request to lead worship at a church in a neighboring community. 24 years later, I am still leading worship in small churches, half-time in Neepawa, half-time in 2 neighboring communities. I had to come to Neepawa to discover my true calling, and I'm very glad I did. My biggest cause for celebration is my family. My wife and I share 4 children. All 4 are doing well. Getting to where they are now hasn't been easy for any of them, but they have persevered. They have overcome obstacles and barriers, and are all doing well. I have not always been the best father or stepfather I could be, but I can take comfort in knowing that I did at least 1 or 2 things right for each of them. My biggest concern is for our country's future. We have become a mighty, highly polarized society, with every identifiable group competing against every other identifiable group for support they need to achieve their goals. We need to come together as a nation. We need to put aside our differences and work together to find solutions to the problems we face, solutions that will benefit all Canadians equally. In a few months, we will have an opportunity to elect a new federal government. I hope we will choose one that will help to heal the hurts that have caused the division among us and find ways to bring people together so that as a united nation, strong and free, we can find solutions to climate change, racism, bias, prejudice, and the growing incidence of violence and criminal activity in our country. I have been praying for this for several months already. Next week, I will share my biggest source of confidence as I face my next year of life. Excuse me. Gladstone Cattle Market Report by Tyler Slowinski. And pictured with conclusion of the July 11th cattle sale, further sales are now on hold for the summer. Further cattle reports can be expected in the Neepawa Banner and Press sometime in the fall. And it pictures cattle grazing in a pasture. Finally, a stretch of decent heat and sunshine, an opportunity to make hay while the sun shines. Hay crops look promising, and the cattle don't seem to know what part of the pasture to graze first. A nice problem to have. One thing about having a year with excess moisture, there's a good chance there is grass, and if the crop won't combine, it'll combine, it will surely make feed. The market this week was fairly active. I'm sure we break records every time we have a sale. I have never seen this many slaughter cows and bulls trail to town at this time of year once again this week. Cattle that don't seem to be pulling their own weight are quickly liquidated, cashing in on some of the value that we are seeing in the markets today. Supply and demand is definitely supporting the cattle market. We sold 358 cattle through the ring in Gladstone on July 9th. The market saw a variety of cattle, mostly slaughter cows and bulls. This market this week was trending softer. The lack of volume, quality, and consistency had the feeder market backed up somewhat. The cow and bull market was also showing signs of pressure due to lower trending prices in the western provinces. Although the pressure was being applied, the slaughter market we did have was very consistent and steady compared to the last couple of weeks. Cows and bulls traded with consistency from 175 to 190, with sales to 192. With steady averages, bulls traded with strengths ranging higher between 225 to 240, with sales to 247. Cattle producers, this was our last sale before the summer break. Stay tuned for more details on the first sale back. We are tentatively looking at the end of August. We'd also like to thank each and every one of you who have supported us along the way, and we look forward to marketing your livestock once again beginning this fall. May the grass be endless and the cattle fat and the feed yard bursting at the seams. And letters to the editor. Power and greed. I have said before that Canada is in trouble. Our government no longer has praise and honor for our one true living God, Father of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, but seem to think the dollar is much more important. When you hear bragging on national TV about the increase in the number of millionaires in Canada, meanwhile we have people living in tents because they can't afford the rent and have to go to food banks for food, I know how many are not millionaires, but they regularly donate to those food banks so their neighbors don't starve. Like I have stated before, when discipline, accountability, responsibility, and respect are outlined by governments, it makes for no right or wrong. We used to be a free country, but I now wonder when there is a continual mandating. I remember 2005 when Carberry had 2 full-time doctors and a partially retired doctor who did some ER work. One could see a doctor when they needed to and could get an appointment in less than 105 days. Everyone knew all the nurses and healthcare workers. It was great. Then the government decided we needed a regional health authority, and slowly our healthcare system fell apart. Then our 2 younger doctors left for greener pastures, but we were lucky to get 2 more doctors, and once again things were good. However, as they were here for a while, greener pastures called them, and we had doctors come in for a while, and they could find better paying opportunities or retire, whichever came first. Somewhere along the way, we got a terrific nurse practitioner with a doctor, and we lost a doctor to retirement and one to the end of a contract. Then we received an additional nurse practitioner, but then hospital was designated as a transitional unit. Suddenly we were short of nurses, and agency nurses from Winnipeg were sent out, so our seniors in the care home were faced with people they didn't know, and they began to wonder what had happened. Meanwhile, administration seems to be thriving. I don't understand. Apparently, Winnipeg RHA was overstaffed by 20 people, so they were let go. I wonder if maybe Brandon has some that need to be let go so the money can be better spent paying nurses and doctors. Giving nurses full-time work and benefits would be a step in the right direction from my point of view. I am sure it would be much cheaper than paying nurses to come from Winnipeg to attend to our seniors. It would also be nice to go to our clinic and chat with our usual receptionists. I have no idea what the Prairie Mountain Health has against Carberry, but we the citizens feel that would be like to get rid of us. We seem to be a proverbial thorn in the flesh. However, we are a stubborn people and we continue to care how our taxes are used. This is my humble opinion, but I have discussed it with many Carberry people and they agree. And that is from Faye Erickson at Carberry. And thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs down to whoever pulled out flowers from the town planters on Main Street. How could you? Why did you? From Sherry James. I have to agree with that one, boy. And Helen's recipes today, pasta and rice salad, and she does have one Mediterranean rice salad recipe and a Mexican pasta salad recipe. What taste just as good hot or cold is rice and pasta. Made into salads, they are elegant enough to serve our guests, yet are inexpensive and easy to put together. Best of all, rice and pasta can be made hours in advance. In fact, they taste better that way. So while you were visiting with your guests, your salad flavors are mingling. That's a very good suggestion. And there's 2 good recipes there. And social media on paper. Seen here is an entry written in an autograph book by one Aunt Mary on the 2nd of March, 1931. The entry reads, "Those who bring sunshine to the lives of others cannot keep it from themselves." Autograph books are one of the many historical items the beautiful Plain Museum houses and cares for. By Stacy McGrath of the Beautiful Plains Museum. Before social media, autograph albums or autograph books were used by people of all ages to remember acquaintances, leave notes for friends, or keep signatures of famous people. In some cases, there were competitions for kids to participate in to see how many autographs they could acquire from people of influence. Autograph books were also used as journals to keep notes of events that occurred or to draw pictures of what one saw. An autograph book was used both for messages from friends and a way to capture the events of the day, very similar to how social media is used today. Instead of posting something online, people would write it down or draw a picture, so social media was present back in the day, just in a different form. This picture is one of page in an autograph book, see above. The Beautiful Plains Museum is open Tuesday to Saturday from 9 to 5 p.m. In July, it will be open on Sundays from 1 to 5 p.m. If you have any questions, please call 204-476-3896, or after hours, call 204-212-2723. Come look through the autograph books we have on display. Excuse me. And, whoops, gotta hold that page for later. And yeah, on sports, Neepawa Cubs go on a hot streak. Baseball club undefeated for the week, going 3-0-1 by Owen Devereux. The Neepawa Cubs have made things very interesting in the Santa Clara Baseball League standings, going undefeated in their last 4 games. After a disheartening 14-1 home loss to Plumas on June 6th, the Cubs have gone 3-0-1 this last week and are now only a half game out of first place. It all began with the Cubs scoring late in Austin and securing a 3-3 tie against the A's on Wednesday, July 3rd. That was followed up on Friday, July 5th by a 13-4 win at home versus the Minnesota Mavericks. The Cubs score all 13 of the runs within the first 4 innings of play and then cruise to the victory. Both Dylan Burch and Dustin Cook of Neepawa went 3 for 4 at the plate, with Cook collecting 3 RBIs. Victor Lamb was the one standout for the Mavericks, going 3 for 4. Cubs pitcher Braden Coleman picked up the winning, going 5 innings and striking out 7. Zach Platt came in for the save, striking out 5 of the 6 Minnesota batters he faced. This game was also a success away from the Diamond, as this game was a fundraiser for Bigger Than the Dream Ride 2024, which raised money to make dreams come true for Westman children facing life-threatening illnesses. In total, $3,600 was able to be contributed to the cause, thanks to the Cubs and the local fans. Being on the field and the big match of the weekend would be in Plumas on Sunday, July 7th, as the Cubs challenged the Pirates in an afternoon doubleheader. Neepawa would end up hindering Plumas' chances to take top spot in the league by winning both games, 8-6 and 9-6 respectively. For the first game, Neepawa was able to hold off a late Plumas rally for the 8-6 decision. Lincoln Murray was 2 for 3, batting in 3 RBI. Dustin Cook also had himself a good game, going 3 for 4 with 2 RBI. Zach Platt was the winning pitcher, going 6 innings and striking out 6. Cole Krukowicz picked up the save. As for the second game of the day, it seemed almost every member of the Cubs lineup was dialed in at the batter's box. Lincoln Murray was a perfect 4 for 4, while teammates Dustin Cook went 3 for 3. Nate Stevenson was a solid 4 for 5. Cody Pazwisti was also perfect at the plate with a 3 for 3 performance. He added a bit extra, however, in the form of a home run, his leading fourth of the year. Garrett Rempel pitched a complete game and earned the win for Neepawa. This tremendous hot streak for Neepawa has them in second place in the Santa Clara League standings, with just one game left in the regular season, scheduled for July 10th against Minnedosa. The results of that game were final just after the banner and press publication deadline. Excuse me. And Ron Cornell wins 2024 NGCC Senior Open by Owen Devereaux. Even a short mid-round rainstorm didn't dampen the overall enthusiasm seen in the 2024 Neepawa Golf and Country Club Senior Open. The event, held on Monday, July 8th, featured 136 participants from all across Manitoba. This year's winner of the champion flight was Ron Cornell, who is from Brandon, but plays primarily in the summer out of the Clear Lake Golf Course in Wasagaming. Cornell was able to shoot a solid round of 73 for the day, one clear of David Machelski. Well, this was Cornell's first win at the NGCC Senior Open. He has had a fair bit of success around Messman's senior circuit over the years. He is a former winner of the Minnedosa Senior Open, as well as the Tamarack, just to name a few. As well this year, Dwight Kearns of Shiloh Country Club claimed top spot in the Super Senior Flight, a new addition to the Neepawa Senior Open. Kearns was able to secure the victory with a round of 76, 4 better than his nearest competition, Clayton Wyburn and Ed Maggiacamo. Other notable results from the Senior Open for 2024 include closest to the pin, hole 4, Chris Perry, hole 8, Doug Cook, hole in 1. Hole 12, Garth White. Hole 18, Don Evenson. Longest putt, hole 3, Ron Lauder. Hole 11, Randy Martin. Longest drive, white tee, Mike Andrews. Red tee, Dwight Kearns. Congratulations to all the participants, as well as Landon Cameron and the Neepawa Golf and Country Club staff for another successful and fun-filled event. And the Neepawa Titans signed trio of prospects. The Neepawa Titans has announced the commitment of 3 players in advance of the 2024-25 MGHL season. Forwards Troy Horn, number 6, Shay Chornley, 7, and goaltender Alex Myers, 6, are the latest players to sign with the Titans organization. Horn, from Chilliwack, BC, joins the Titans after completing a successful season with the U18 AAA Fraser Valley Thunderbirds. In 34 games, Horn had 11 goals and 27 assists for 40 points. I've always wanted to play junior hockey. It has been a goal of mine for a long time. After talking with Coach Pearson, I felt that Neepawa was a great opportunity for me. I'm really excited to come in, meet my teammates, earn a spot, and help the Titans reach another level, said Horn. Chornley, a Winnipeg product, was drafted in the 4th round of the 2023 NJHL draft by the Titans and played for the Winnipeg 18U AAA Bruins in 23-24. There he had 10 goals along with 9 helpers in 43 games. Chornley had this to say about signing with the Titans. I'm thrilled to join the community of Neepawa and the Titans. I look forward to playing for a passionate fan base with an experienced coaching staff and to help build on the team's success. Excuse me. Myers, who played 25 games for the Interlake Lightning, had a 14-9-1 record with a .913 save percentage and a goals against average of 3.12 in the regular season, and was a 2-3-1 with a .932 save percentage and goals against average of 2.45 in the playoffs. He also backed up the Titans on numerous occasions during the season. I'm pretty excited to get things started in Neepawa and get on the ice with the Titans. I hope to bring a calm presence to the net this season. Neepawa Titans coach and GM Ken Pearson had this to say about the 3 recent additions. All 3 of these individuals are great character kids with strong work ethics. Horn and Shirley will add some size, tenacity, and depth to our forward group, and Alex will push our 2 other goalies for a spot in the net. He was very good when we called him at the different times throughout the regular season, and he gained some valuable experience when he was playing with us in the playoffs, said Pearson. Excuse me. Titans main camp kicks off on September 3rd, and the first exhibition game will be September 5th when Dauphin Kings come to town for a rookie game. And another article from the Beautiful Plains Museum. Electric oil, that's hard to say. Dr. Thomas electric oil is one of those items that in past times one may have found in someone's medicine cabinet. Electric oil claimed to cure many things for humans, such as colic, galls, sweeney, scratches, and more. And for chickens, it would be used for canker sores and flesh wounds. According to the Beautiful Plains Museum, early medicine in Canada of the 1800s, and especially the newly opened prairies, was a scary combination of chance and deception. Few doctors were available, so people became their own doctors, and snake oil salesmen sold their miracle cures via papers, almanacs, catalogs, and even went town to town. One of the major problems here was that there were no laws governing ingredients in the bottles that these salesmen provided alongside their outlandish claims of what the medicine allegedly cured. The only thing they needed to patent was the shape of the bottles. Some of these medicines were effective as they were based on proven folk remedies. However, many were ineffective and even dangerous for the people to use. Many more medicine facts can be gleaned from the Beautiful Plains Museum. And Old Canada, Rocky Mountain National Park entrance and rooming house. Pictured above are some scenes from past of Rocky Mountain National Park. The top photo, an entrance to Rocky Mountain National Park as it appears in the 1930s. And seen here is the Wasagaming Lodge, once known as the rooming house, located at the Wasagaming town site in Rocky Mountain National Park. The date of the photograph was not listed. According to the information on the Lake House Boutique Motel's website, which was originally known as Wasagaming Lodge, the structure had originally been built in the 1930s. Whoops. A whole new store every other week. Chuckie's Liquidation opens in Neepawa by Owen Devereaux. Chuckie's Liquidation officially opened in Neepawa Tuesday, July 9th. The outlet store is located on the former Chalet Flooring Building at 139 Main Street West. Excuse me. A slightly different shopping experience has come to Neepawa as a new liquidation store has taken over the space inside the former Chalet Flooring Building. Chuckie's Liquidation is owned and operated by Chuck Weber, along with his wife, Priscilla, and family. After spending about 12 years in the Maritimes, the Webb family, who have well-established roots within western Manitoba, chose to return home last year. Upon his return to Westman, Chuck saw an opportunity here in Neepawa to set up shop with this particular business model. There's really not any type of competition for this type of store, and we saw that as an opportunity. I've heard from local people there are a lot of people that will pack up and head into Winnipeg or Brandon for the clothing, for name brands, and things along that nature. The concept of a liquidation store involves the sale of name brand items at deeply discounted prices. These products are sourced through larger retailers or manufacturers due to overstock, returns, or being slightly damaged items. Similar types of store are already located and very popular in Winnipeg, Brandon, and Winkler. Chuckie's, however, is the first of these style businesses to be located in a rural community in Manitoba. Webb noted that he has been reviewing the viability of a liquidation store in Neepawa since August of last year. After confirming that it is a concept that can seed here, Chuck and his family got to work on finding a suitable location. Fortunately, that perfect spot met him almost the moment he drove into town, in the form of the former Chalet Flooring, located at 139 Main Street West. Webb noted the size and location of the storefront was almost exactly what they needed. They then contacted Neepawa Gladstone Co-op, the owners of the property, about setting up shop, and things progressed quickly from there. Chuckie's liquidation officially opened to the public on Tuesday, July 9th. In regard to what we should expect inside, Webb said it is, in essence, can be a whole new store each and every week. The thing about a liquidation is you never know what you're getting, noted Webb. But it's still major brands, retail items we've all heard of. You don't want junk. It's higher-end stuff, mostly from the United States, Webb explained. We buy bulk, and so we are able to get better deals and then bring the price down for the customer. The unique thing about it is, though, is that once an item is gone, it's gone. So there'll be new product all the time. That's the cool thing about this kind of store. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And finally, we have the 4-H stock show champions declared. But, it's not finally. I found another thing. Players, parents, and coaches with the Neepawa Lacrosse Association held a community barbecue on Thursday, July 4th at the Super Thrifty Pharmacy. The day was a fundraiser for members of the U13 and U17 Neepawa Noise to assist with covering costs for some of those players participating in the Prairie Cup in Regina on July 20th and 21st. As well, the day helped with covering the expenses for Che Cox, who represent Manitoba at the Nationals in August. Anyone still interested in assisting with the fundraiser can contact Neepawa Lacrosse at outlook.com for additional details. And now on to the 4-H stock show champions. And pictured above, first on the left, Supreme Female from Madison Robertson. Reserve Champion Female, Avery Jury. Champion Steer, Sviana Bjarnson. And Reserve Champion Steer, Quinn Sawchuk. And there's also 2 pages of classes and winners, and especially a big thank you, the members, leaders, and families of the Erickson, Neepawa, and Rapid City 4-H beef clubs wish to extend sincere appreciation to all of the buyers and bidders for their outstanding support of our 2024 4-H Beef Interclub sale held in Neepawa on Wednesday, July 3rd. Buyers included Neepawa Veterinary Clinic, Kalbaki Ad Supply, Ken Beatty Farms, Farmery Estate Brewing Company, Penos Machine and Manufacturing Limited, Minnedosa Vet Clinic, Minnedosa Insurance, Integra Tire, Stride Credit Union, Central Testing Laboratory, Ag West, Harris Pharmacy, Gillen Small Agencies, Kalbaki Seeds, Enns Brothers Limited, TIC Parts and Service, Mazer Group, Neepawa, Rocky Mountain Equipment, Neepawa, Spring Hill Colony, DAM Cattle Buyers, Gord and Diane Peters, Total Farm Supply, Total Farm Supply Master Feeds, Joey Bootsman, TIC Parts and Service Limited, Rob Smith and Son, CAMO Cattle Company and Best Farming, and 674-5883 Manitoba Limited. And those were all buyers of cattle from the 4-H Club members. And there's also special thank yous to supporters, Rapid City 4-H Beef Club, Bootsman Family, KCH Cattle Company, DK Farms, Total Farm Supply, Foggy Mountain Farms, Shane Saylor, Trucking, Heartland Livestock, Brandon, New Rosedale Feed Mill, Jury Farms, Caleb Hutton, John's Electric Limited, Kerry Butler, Neepawa Veterinary Clinic, Erickson 4-H Beef Club, Minagro, and North Star Insurance and Real Estate. There's also thank yous to all the people who helped out. The judges, the show ring people, the announcer, show marshals, photographer, show clerk, caterer, stall judge, facility, and the 4-H representative helped. And assistance with the sale of steers. There were platinum sponsors, gold sponsors, silver sponsors, and bronze sponsors. This is a well-supported event, and it's well worth it for the participants. And there's a few more pictures here for you. The overall grand champion steer with Avery Jury of Neepawa. The reserve grand champion steer, Sviana Bjarnson of Neepawa. And over here, excuse me, Supreme Champion Female and Champion 2-year-old Female, Kate Hinsberg from Rapid City. Reserve Champion Female and Champion Yearling Heifer, Kate Hinsberg from Rapid City. Overall Showmanship Championship, Madison Robertson from Neepawa. Champion Beginning Beef, Owen Marchant from Neepawa. And Reserve Champion Beginning Beef, Coulter Kostenchuk from Erickson. And that concludes this reading of the issue of the Neepawa Banner Press for Friday, July 12th. We hope you enjoyed.